Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Jack Remington of the Jack Remington Political Analyst Channel. Extremely disturbing headline today that just cannot be passed over. It's from Joel Silverstein from Fox News. Discipline Supreme Court in response to Roe v. Wade decision. Subheading says, quote, New York columnist Jamie Bouie suggests packing the Supreme Court, impeaching justices, and more to punish the court for overturning Roe. Here's the photo headline. Do you agree with AOC that the court's ruling on Roe v. Wade is still illegitimate? So apparently AOC's been running her mouth saying all kinds of stupid stuff, which is normal for her. And in fact, whatever she says, I'm always on the opposite side, so that speaks volumes just for itself. Abortion ruling, protesters support AOC calling Supreme Court ruling illegitimate. Really? The New York Times published an op-ed Saturday calling for Congress to discipline the Supreme Court in response to the court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. New York Times columnist Jamie Bouie wrote an outline of how Democrats could rein in the high court in a piece titled, quote, How to Discipline a Rogue Supreme Court, end quote. Quote, the Supreme Court does not exist above the constitutional system. The rogue court cannot shield itself from the power of the other branches. Really? Among the options Bouie listed were impeaching and removing justices and packing the court. Quote, Congress, can impeach and remove justices. It can increase or decrease the size of the court itself, parentheses. At its inception, the Supreme Court had only 6 members, end parentheses, end quote. Here's another subheading that's a different story for a different video. Stacey Abrams refuses to say whether she supports restrictions on abortion up to 9 months. We've seen that she's trying to get the governorship in the state of Georgia. She's yet to concede the other race in 2018 when she lost by 57,000 votes to George Kemp, what's his name? George Kemp, Governor Kemp, the sitting governor of Georgia right now. He's a rhino, by the way. He valued his trading with China as from the state of Georgia instead of over Donald Trump. That's a different video for a different day. I may have already covered it. So, but Stacey Abrams is in serious trouble with this now because Georgia's got a lot of these Southern women, these Southern Belle women. They pride life. They don't go for this abortion shit. They treasure life. They understand life. They appreciate life. They're not these atheist heathens that just want to make the bloody sacrifice like the girls twerking on the other video I saw yesterday. It's a different form of twerking. They're twerking to shake the baby out. So it's disgusting. It's so disgusting. I'm not going to film it here. I'm done talking about that. Law enforcement officers stand guard as protesters march past Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's home on June 8th, 2022 in Chevy Chase, Maryland. I lived in Potomac, Maryland. I lived like 2 miles from these places before I left for California. The White House confirmed on Saturday that President Biden opposes plans to pack the court. Well, of course, because he knows that the moderate Democrats are not going to go for that. We also suggested that Congress impose a supermajority requirement on the Supreme Court or to, quote, strip the court of its jurisdiction over certain issues, end quote. Really? Now, who is this guy, this Jamie Bouie, this writer for the New York Times? Who the f*** is he? Is he a lawyer? I don't think so. Well, we'll find out in this. I have no idea who he is, but we're going to find out together here. Quote, in the face of a reckless, reactionary, and power-hungry court, Congress has options. The problem is politics, Bouie wrote, end of quote. Quote, despite the arrogance of the Supreme Court and despite its almost total lack of democratic legitimacy, there is little to no appetite within the Democratic Party for a fight over the nature of the court and its place in our constitutional system, he added, end of quote. Another subheadlining for this to sound like a good story, New York City prosecutors flee in droves amid soft-on-crime policies, burdensome state reforms. Gee, who would have thought that? Here's a stupid photo here. Pro-choice activists approached the home of U.S. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Parentheses, Bonnie Cash / Getty Images, end of parentheses. I'm going to read a couple of these things in case you can't see it too clear. Black lady, I am a vagina and I vote. And she's holding a sign. That's her shirt. Her sign says something about out of my vagina, pussy police or something. Oh my God. Lady in the back, her sign says, we are allowing a rapist to make decisions on women's reproductive rights. Impeach Brett Kavanaugh. So now he's a rapist? Well, didn't they accuse him of being a rapist before? And no one could link him to any intercourse at all when he was a 16-year-old kid or whatever it was during the confirmation hearings, where 247 of these activists were arrested, an all-time record for the Capitol Wadsworth Building hearing house went during the Senate to approve of Brett Kavanaugh in the Supreme Court. This lady is saying he's a rapist. So she believes Christine Blasey Ford, who couldn't remember anything. So she's taking someone's word who can't remember anything. And when she was on the big screen, she froze like a deer in headlights and was so perjurous she should have got life in prison. But that's what these ladies are siding with. They're siding with Christine Blasey Ford calling Brett Kavanaugh a rapist. Oh, there's a sign, a picture of Brett Kavanaugh's got liar. Some a white man with a mini bullhorn holding a sign that Kavanaugh, who's your sugar daddy? Really? What do people think? Keep abortion safe and legal. No, safe abortions save lives. Well, if you have an abortion, the baby dies, right? So how are you saving lives? I don't understand their math. Oh, that's right. Their math is racist now. There's another picture of Brett Kavanaugh in the center of this photo. It's got some big lipstick on him. Maybe they think he's trans. I don't know. But we expressed admiration for President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who he said threatened the Supreme Court into allowing most of FDR's New Deal to stand. Quote, for many Democrats, President Roosevelt's attempt to expand the size of the court is less a triumph than a cautionary tale, a testament to the limits of presidential leadership and presidential power, he wrote. But Roosevelt did eventually get a Supreme Court that allowed most of the New Deal to stand. The threat worked. The court was humbled. It will take time to build the kind of power and consensus needed to make significant change to the court, we argued. He continued, but even the work of masking that power and putting that consensus together can stand as a credible threat to a Supreme Court that has acted under conservative control as if it stands above the constitutional system, unaccountable to anyone other than itself. End of quote. The New York Times ignored the indictment of Nicholas Ruski, the young man who was arrested outside Justice Brett Kavanaugh's home. Parentheses, AP photo, courtesy Anna Johnson, end parentheses. In response to the court's Roe v. Wade ruling, protesters have posted the addresses of Republican-appointed justices online. Earlier this month, Nicholas Ruski was arrested outside Justice Brett Kavanaugh's house for attempted murder. He was, quote, armed with a knife, pistol, ammunition, zip ties, pepper spray, duct tape, and other items. He allegedly told police he was intending to use in order to kill the Supreme Court justice, end of quote. Ruski told the 911 operator he was there to kill Kavanaugh and that he was angered by the then-leaked Supreme Court draft on abortion. Remember that leaked draft that no one has been able to seem to solve? Really? Okay. The mainstream media received heavy criticism for ignoring the Kavanaugh assassination attempt. Thank you, Joel Silverstein. You did a good job here. So he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He reported the news. Now, oh my God, I forgot these comments. Oh my goodness. So when I first saw this this morning, there were no comments. Now there's hundreds of comments. I'm only going to read a couple of them because I'm trying to keep shorter videos. Gruzog 1286 writes 12 minutes ago, sorted by the best, quote, but Roosevelt did eventually get a Supreme Court that allowed most of the New Deal to stand. The threat worked. The court was humbled, end quote. He's using the article from James Bowie, who's been quoted today's article. Oh, it's got Ms. Bowie, not even Mr. Bowie, Ms. Bowie. You need to go back and read a tad bit more on FDR's New Deal and its constitutionality. The SCOTUS at the time ruled against many programs that were part of the New Deal. The drafters of the New Deal that FDR signed into law worked to fix the issues that were addressed by the court to bring the New Deal into compliance with the U.S. Constitution, which is correct. As for its latest ruling by the SCOTUS on Roe v. Wade, all the court did was reinforce and uphold the right of the states to make their own laws and limit the overreach of the federal government. Next up should be the cabinet position of Secretary of Education. This is a great article, and that's going to be a top 5 post, if not higher. Quick Draw 5.56 writes, the problem with this is that they did follow the Constitution. Protected by the Constitution, and the 10th Amendment comes to play and gives states the power, not the federal government. 3 justices voted against following the Constitution. Those are the 3 that should be disciplined, as they voted based on a political stance, not a constitutional stance. I couldn't agree more. I mean, the fact that it was a 6-3 decision should scare you, not that it passed. This decision did not stop abortions. And these women in New York and Illinois and California protesting in Oregon, acting like idiots. It doesn't affect them at all. They're in blue states that allow abortion. As a matter of fact, their costs may even go down as they're getting more customers from other states is going to try to get their abortions now. It's going to lower the cost for them. But they don't think they got the hate blinders on that's molded to perfection, minted by the Democrat Party, the DNC, the party of hate. Wow. Kev B 380 writes, as usual, the Gang of 3 voted for a political agenda and not the rule of law. Ruth Bader Ginsburg really hosed them. Gotta love it. What that post is discussing was that even Ruth Bader Ginsburg had different things to say about these entire issues. But see, they don't want to talk about that because Ruth Bader Ginsburg was not really this loony left liberal on all issues. She voted for her country. She voted for the rule of law most of the time. The only criticism I had of her is when she kept saying, well, if Donald Trump wins the election in 2016, I'm going to retire from the Supreme Court and I'm going to move to Canada. But that's electioneering, which is not allowed by Supreme Court justice, any stripe. And Justice Roberts should have had her disciplined and removed from the court, but they weren't going to do that. She's one of their. They made 2 movies about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's a hero to the left at the time. Now she's kind of being pushed to some distance now. Well, we don't want to talk about her anymore. Well, of course not, because she doesn't fit your agenda anymore. And Woody 55 puts 5-4 ruling. I think that's correct. I think Roberts jumped ship. I think Roberts was going to be the 6th justice to vote for, but I think he went the other way. He was later on recorded saying that he upheld and understood the Mississippi ruling for the Dobbs case, 15-week time limit, but he wouldn't go any further than that because he wanted to really backtrack. And there was a separate article I saw from CNN, the Communist News Network, that talks about how Justice Roberts lost the court and how he did this. How, you know, they're trying to make him a hero, but he's really a freaking coward. Justice Roberts, you're a freaking coward. That's your legacy, and I will make sure you never forget it. Western Wills says, J-Mail is saying that the 13% don't know how to keep from getting pregnant. Got it. Oh my goodness. The man that is, he says, condoms are white supremacy is most likely the reason. That's a good one. I like that. You joke about this, but the U.S. tried distributing condoms in sub-Saharan Africa as a way to combating the HIV epidemic. Certain people in the Star said that it was only being done to keep Africans from reproducing. So yeah, there are some people who truly believe condoms are white supremacy. Redondo, perfect. Voltaire, 126, wait till they start voting. Oops. And you know how they're going to vote. ELH 845, what is a woman? Honker 58, you were correct about the three. They could not even give a legal reason why the decision was wrong. Just a liberal talking point said it was a bad decision. If it was, then tell us why. See, now the defenders are going to try to save these people and make them look good instead of bad. I mean, that's to be expected. One reply. Oh, this MG Hatter, this liberal here. Everyone votes pretty much on party lines. That's why conservative justices need to be installed to overturn Roe. Let me read this guy's comment one more time. MG Hatter, he's replying to Cajun Transplant. Everyone votes pretty much on party lines. That's why conservative justices need to be installed to overturn Roe. So I'm going to have to give us a thumbs up because I can't believe this guy. I'm even going to make a reply here. Oh, it won't let me. I got to sign in. I ain't signing in. These people. Show me where in the Bible that God says he's against abortion. There's plenty of passages to answer that question. Blackwater writes, do you think that the right to kill a child is constitutional? If so, how is mandating a poisonous jab constitutional? I work in a very sensitive area of the medical field, and no matter what they, quote, the media, Dems, Fauci, end quote, tell you that the vax is killing folks and having a horrible outcome for many others. This isn't misinformation, this is observation. Balder, son of Odin, writes, not if it's considered murder, and from legal precedents of cases where women killed while carrying it, it appears to be only murder. And that's correct. There's been many cases, I should say many, there's been several cases I even remember reading about over the years, where a pregnant lady driving along in her car, she gets shot by some gangbanger in the crossfire, some gang war, like in Chicago, New York, or Jacksonville, Florida, Richmond, Virginia, Oakland, California, LA, California. And if the fetus dies, that's considered murder. And every case I remember reading about, that's what happened. You are a coward, Justice Roberts. Only the guy says 6'3", do your research, so it doesn't matter. Roe v. Wade got remanded back to the states. Okay, that's the important part here, folks. That's what's important here. The Supreme Court is working just fine. The decision is solid, and even Ruth Bader Ginsburg once said that Roe was a bad decision that would be overturned, and that's correct. And I saw the video a couple days ago. The nice thing about the Constitution is it gives people a way to change things if they don't like a court decision. Change the law. If you can't do that, then most people don't support your position. 542 upvotes, only 5 downvotes. Broken drum. When the court favored the left, things were fine, but now we need to change the rules. Separation of powers is getting in the way. Cannot jurisdict legislation. Here's a thought. Write bills that are constitutional enough to pass a smell test and neuter the Supreme Court. They can only examine legislation handed them with the position of grievance. 118 upvotes, only 2 downvotes. That's another well-written article about the Supreme Court. In the Know writes, sounds like the 2020 election all over again. It worked once for them then. And 10 upvotes, no downvotes. And I want to ask these people that they're bitching about the Supreme Court. I guess you were fine with Madeleine O'Murray, with the atheists, 30,000 atheists versus 225 million Americans that were religious, and they got parents taken out of school. You know, in the Earl Warren liberal Supreme Court. You were okay with that. Okay, you were okay with these other decisions that are favoring minorities and women and all this other stuff. You were okay with that because it helped your narrative. It helped get your people in power. Okay, and it helped the Democrat Party for the last 6 years in my lifetime. Now Donald Trump put in 3 conservative justices, and you don't like it. Now the pendulum is swinging the other way because the country's going to shit. And this very same Supreme Court, okay, Roberts yelled down Justice Thomas, Gorsuch, and Alito, said, hey, look, we got to take a look at this election thing. They need one more justice for election matters. You don't need a 5-4 majority. 4 justices is required for certain elements of the Constitution, and voting elections and voting rights is one of them. And everything was fine when they were getting all their voter ID laws struck down and remanded and stalling for time so they can keep doing their bullshit that they've been doing the last 50 years. And now they've turned a one-day voting day into a all-year-round mail-in voting. They were okay with that. Okay, they were okay with Madeleine O'Murray and the 30,000 atheists. They were okay with these small smidgen of people dominating the rest of the country. They were okay with that. But now, Justice Thomas has got some balls and say, hey, look, this is how we're going to do this. And Kavanaugh finally rose to the occasion. But don't worry, I'm not a Kavanaugh fan. Okay? I'm only a fan of the best justice, Clarence Thomas, the best justice of my lifetime, who should be the Chief Justice, not this Roberts clown. This Roberts, he's bought and sold by the DNC and Big Business of Wall Street and everybody else, and a certain other group of people I don't want to mention on this video here. And I have a lot of respect for Justice Alito and Gorsuch. There are the three. If I could become dictator of this world, and notice I said world, okay, I would take the other 6 justices and I would just put them in jail. I would put them right in jail because they committed treason when they allowed this election bullshit in 2020 to pass because they were bought and paid for. That includes this Coney Barrett. Okay, I thought for sure she would be the 4th justice, and I knew Kavanaugh was a hack prick. I knew how he was. He didn't appreciate Trump and even nominating him. See, they forget where they came from. Okay, so that's what happened. The Sotomayor, she was the only dissenter on this voter ID law from North Carolina that they passed last week, and the 37-page opinion that was finally summarized and released by the Supreme Court, the last 14, 15 pages or 17 pages, half the brief is her one dissent. And she's bitching about, well, it's overregulated, over-jurisdicted, over-lawyered, over this. She's looking for red lights instead of the one green light was the states decide how you're going to vote. It's a state's right. See, she can't get that, okay? She has no clue on what she's talking about, okay? See, because she is the Sonia Sotomayor, she's the Hispanic Latina woman. She's a double whammy. She's a Latina minority, and then she's a woman minority appointed by, guess who? Not Donald Trump, not George W. Bush, Barack Hussein Obama. He really tried to destroy this country, didn't he? We're going to transform America. He tried his damnedest, didn't he? I'm going to close this video out by saying, I think Justice Thomas finally started putting his foot down, and he just told you, Justice, this is how we're going to do things. And thank God that North Carolina versus the NAACP, for this voting rights group or something. So we don't want the voter ID. Well, of course they don't want the voter ID. They want to vote plenty and often. And they get their dead relatives in the graveyards, and they're illegal aliens to vote too. I've said enough. You get the gist. The Supreme Court was giving us marching orders through Justice Roberts. Make sure Trump didn't get in 2020. And they're going to make sure he doesn't win in 2024. Why? Because Donald Trump controls the Treasury. He controls the money. He won't let these drunken sailors spend us broke. What are we, 40 trillion in debt and counting? And is it going to even go? What is the national debt per minute, per second in this country to pay that debt that we'll never be able to pay back? Trump held them in check, and that's what they didn't like. That's why is the only one reason why Donald Trump really had to go. I mean, some of them probably actually voted for him secretly. The Washington Post lady, when they fired her, she outvoted for Trump because he's news to us. He keeps making us money, getting us clicks. And Trump was, he was entertaining. His mean tweets and his $1.82 or no $1.78 gallon of gas was pretty entertaining. And I'd like to have that back, and so would they. But they can't admit that because the Democrats will turn on them. They'll cancel them. So they created a monster, this Democrat Party. Now they got to deal with it. I've said this for years. Justice Clarence Thomas has been the most consistent, the most concise, the most understandable, and he applies the Constitution, the laws applying to the Constitution. Doesn't necessarily go by precedent. What's a precedent? I mean, they used to hang people at the stake for thinking that it's not the sun or it's not the galaxy. The Earth is the center of the universe. If you don't agree with it, they would hang you. Oh, the Earth is flat. They would hang people if they said, no, the Earth is really round, and just keep going. You keep seeing the horizon. You go on further. The Earth is round. It's spherical. Because moronic people, and we have them again today, 1,500 years later, they can't think. They can't process information. You can thank the American education system for that. So I've said enough. I hope this is a good video. Always great to be American. Screw these little pieces of shit. Lock them up in Arizona. Lock them up everywhere they're protesting. Do what the other foreign countries do. Do what Nigeria, India, Vietnam, China, Cuba, Dominican Republic. Do what they do. They have a riot. They just send the guard, and it's shoot first. If you're innocent, it's too bad. Why were you outside? They leave the body sit there for a couple of days. If their relatives don't come get them, they start knocking on doors. Do you know this person in the street here? Yeah, go get them. If you don't, we're going to arrest you, because you got to pay for this. That's what happened. The Yugoslav war, when they were shooting the bodies in the streets, they went door to door. Hey, do you know the so-and-so here? Yeah, come get her body. Come get his body. That's how you stop that shit. Okay, they don't riot anymore. Okay, if you shoot to kill, look what Margaret Thatcher did to the IRA people, the assholes in Northern Ireland. They were bombing restaurants, bombing cars, bombing innocent people. You know what they did? She said, I'm sending out the Royal Guard, and any suspected IRA terrorist, you shoot to kill, no questions asked. And that was it. They stopped. It took a few years because they were hiding like rats in the sewer. They got them. They stopped. That's how you stop it. Okay? And they need that here in this country. Yes, I'm putting this on YouTube, and they can kiss my ass if they don't like it. I'm Jack Remington. I'm saying my name one more time in case you can't read my channel. I'm Jack Remington. We got a crime problem in this country. We need a leader that's going to stop it. And I know just the person that's going to stop it. Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you.